Good morning, welcome back to Thronebreaker. I tried this about 10 minutes ago, I didn't have any sounds, so that wasn't great.
This is the end of Dahi. Do you hear me? I shall stick your head on a pike!
Paid late. Again.
I must thank you. Your fortress has superbly solid walls. Fly and cat down!
You mad? Don't shake that!
Oh, Lady Margarita told us of this. Doubt I'll ever pay off these school loans.
Archers, let it be night. Obscure the sun with arrows.
Ah, Jeebus.
As you wish, my lady.
Enough! I do not need to hear this. Kill her!
Then retreat!
How many he passes after he plays the assassins? Oh boy.
Oh, Lady Margarita told us of this.
I hope he passes this turn. He's not gonna pass. What the hell? He only passes. Shit. Cool, yeah, that's great. Right, now he's passed. Need to keep reinforcements, need to keep the Mahakamayo. Can't decoy the Atruzio Adepts. Is there anything here I'd want to decoy? The Imperial Forces, probably. Okay, that's fine. We have enough points to pass them. The question is, do I want to decoy the Imperial Enforcer because it will boost my units every turn? I think I do. Okay, so I can replay muzzle, I can replay decoy, or I can replay reinforcements. Okay, so we can play the strays, we can get the fire out, then we can anger them back out and get more Etrusi adepts. Then we can reinforce and get the board covered in ballistas. So honestly, that hand seems fine. How many ballistas do I have? 2, 3, 4, 8. We have 9 ballistas. So that's going to be an entire roll. And then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more cards, plus the trinket to drop down is going to be 9, plus the resilience barrier. We don't really need more Etrusi adepts then. What we can probably do is drop the fire first turn, anger them out, and get ballistas out. And we can decoy with the blacksmiths to buy more turns to shoot things. Okay, that'll work. I think this will work. A bronze enemy, it's a gold, isn't it? Gold.
This could hurt.
So we can anger them out now. We can play them again straight away. Okay, that works. And then we can get one of our 8 power ballistas out.
Watch your heads.
He's gold as well, isn't he? Yeah, he is. Cool. So yeah, let's flood the board. I'm gonna shoot the crap out of your army, buddy. You can replenish your units 10 times a turn because you're completely broken. Like, completely broken. And my previous deck where I shot things with Sigil just did not work. Because you can replenish units from your deck 10 times per turn. But you know what? I've got a lot more ballistas this time.
off to the front yet again.
You're gonna run out of cards eventually, buddy. I think I've already killed like 6 units. I feel like I've killed more than 10 of its units now. But maybe that's just my imagination.
I
thought the fire might have killed him. Okay, I feel like I've definitely killed more than 10 enemies now this turn. He's definitely getting more than 10 units now, isn't he? he's got infinite units, so. Like it says right here, limit 10 times per turn. Do you mean 10 times per turn per actual playing a card turn? That can't be right. That must be what they mean, isn't it? In which case I'm not going to be able to win this one again, despite the fact I've got a ridiculous amount of damage output. That's what they mean, isn't it? 10 times per round played.
Grab a glue, a bit of soldering, a rivet or two, and it's good as new.
That's what they mean. 10 times per actual round. Which is just ludicrous.
Hey, hey, don't toss that, it's perfectly usable.
Of course, as you wish, master.
Doubt I'll ever pay off these school loans.
Catch!
That was not in the spell books.
My prescription, a bit of bloodletting.
I don't think I can win. He's got 6 cards in hand. He's probably going to get more free units. I'm getting +8 a turn. It's not going to be enough, is it? I honestly didn't think that limit 10 times per turn meant every single card you played. I thought it meant every round. Because, you know, that would be the least insane way of doing it. I managed to get 40 cards out of his deck. 39 cards are in his graveyard. 39! And it isn't enough. $39 cards.
Barbarians.
Maybe it was just enough.
Tell me where.
That was insane. That should not have been that difficult.
Nilfgaard had the upper hand, yet the black-clad spirits had suffered. They now made more use of shields than of swords. When Meve finally broke through their line, they raised their arms in surrender. Rivia Castle had fallen. It was hers once more. Thronebreaker! Name to Wien! Meve showed her prisoners of war mercy, knowing full well they'd only followed orders. Death would be the fate of only Ardal Ep Dahi, the one Nilfgaardian who'd issued those commands. Alas, the general had disappeared. A prisoner revealed Ep Dahi had fled as soon as the Lyrians had surged towards the upper keep. He had glided down to the lower castle in a wicker basket for transporting food. Curled up beneath potato skins and other scraps, he'd scurried away not unlike a common maggot. Meve cursed her luck and leaned back against a merlin. Dawn was yet a few hours off, but the horizon had already begun to glow blood red. The Nilfgaardian reserves now drew near, too late to prevent the castle's fall.
I'll get him,
muttered the queen, more to herself than anyone else.
I swear on all that's sacred I'll catch the bastard. But now we've a pressing matter to see to. Preparing the defense.
That night the war turned, with the battle for Rivia Castle as its fulcrum. Meve's great victory, not only retaking the stronghold in a single evening, but also fending off a further invading army, proved the Nilfgaardian Colossus had feet of clay.
Trophy earned, there's no place like home.
The armies of the north had united and now seemed to be on the attack everywhere. Imperial forces, while still far more numerous, lay stretched over thousands of miles. Their position was untenable, and Nilfgaard's commanders knew this. In a decisive battle, they yet stood a chance, so they gave said battle, and suffered a resounding defeat. Just a few months on from that memorable night in Rivia, the Imperial army was in utter disarray. Aldersburg, the fortress, remained a last point of resistance. General Ep Dahi and what had survived of Army Group East had dug in there. This place, where Nilfgaard had triumphed grandly in the war's early days, would now bear witness to its impending defeat. It seems history, after all, has a sense of justice, or humor, or both. Though Meve had already reclaimed her realm, she refused to retire her sword just yet. for King Demavend had requested her aid in purging Edirn of the invader. How could she refuse? She owed the king a favor, firstly. Yet she also had a burning desire to settle the score with Epdahi.
Demavend's envoy and I spoke, Your Majesty. The king has Aldersburg surrounded. He awaits and won't begin the assault till you arrive.
Good. I truly hate to miss it. Tell the troops to prepare. Gear and I. Yes? Is there something else?
Pardon my boldness, Your Grace, but I can't help but be concerned. You don't sleep. You've the air of illness about you.
I think back to that night in Rivia often, to Gascon's death. Perhaps I made a mistake. Perhaps he didn't have to do it.
He didn't. He needn't have been there at all. I'm a soldier. I swore to serve you. Gascon, not so. He might have left at any time. Guilt, pity trouble you, Your Grace. I know. But he signed on willingly and knew exactly what for. Gascon gave his life, for he thought you worthy of it. There's no greater proof of friendship, no greater gift one can give. Accept it, Your Grace, and remember him with gratitude, not sorrow.
You're right. I thank you, Reynard. That I needed to hear. We've talked enough. We must march on to Aldersburg.
Oh, I thought the game was done.
Your Grace, if I may. Some of our comrades in arms would like a word with you. The war nears its end. Paths are likely to diverge.
I see. Thank you. I shall stop by the mess tent later.
I'm pleased to see you again, Mom.
The war's near its end. The future, what does it hold for you, Isbel? Wise counsel will always find a place at my court.
A tempting offer, Mom. So be it. I shall stay. But I've one condition. You're never to force me to wear shoes.
Ha! These terms I can agree to. Duty calls. I must go.
Of course.
Yes, Your Grace?
The war nears its end. What next for Reynard Odo?
Whatever you command, Your Grace.
Ugh.
Is something amiss, my lady?
Ah.
To be perfectly blunt, I've no wish to give you orders anymore.
Your Grace? Would you wish me to leave? Remove me from the court?
No, Reynard. I'd wish you to stay. But I'd no longer wish to be your queen alone. Do you catch my meaning?
I do, Meave. I do.
Ah.
It's time I attended to other matters.
Huh? What is it now?
The war nears its end.
Sadly,
Sadly, why?
I survived. Again. Rebuild your land, Queen. Enjoy your life. Me and my men, we'll be moving on.
Arnulf, in Lyria and Rivia, your past matters not. Nor does your shame. Stay.
What about after? What do I tell my ancestors when the time comes? I yearn to sit at their table, lass, and drink mead in their company. So go I must.
So long, Arnulf.
Always good to see the Queen.
Our conversation in Mahakam, do you recall it? When you resolved to join my force, leave your homeland?
Of course. Clear as day, that. You saved me and my clan. I'm in your debt. Will be for some time.
Well, we've won the war, and you had a hand in the victory, heavily so. As I see it, you've more than repaid your debt.
Feeling a wee bit choked up, as King Desmond said when an assassin's bolt ran clear through his esophagus. Come here and give us a squeeze.
Later, perhaps. But Gabor, any plans for what comes next?
Ha! I wasn't expecting to have this chat, so I'm a bit caught with my knickers down past my knees.
War's over, but we've much left to do. Our relations with non-humans, for instance. I mean to improve them. And I think you could help, Gabor, greatly so.
Meaning, you'd stay in your court? I'd see it as an honor, Your Majesty. An honor, truly.
We shall return to this conversation later.
No skin off my back.
Are there more fights? I wouldn't have thought there'd be more fights.
Tis Neve, slayer of the Blacklands. Long live the Queen! Just watch and wait. I wager you chase the Emperor himself off the throne. They say war's a man's affair, but you showed them, my lady. They say war's a man...
The Lyrian army had grown into a great serpent. So much so that riding at the column's tail, Neve could not see its head. Footmen, cavalry, and archers stretched like a glistening snake between two horizons. Neve had come a long way indeed, and she felt proud, as did Willem riding at her side. At first, the troops had eyed the prince suspiciously, if not with hatred. But they'd watched him fight for weeks now, and saw him as one of their own. Suddenly, Neve heard angry cries and the clash of steel against steel, all at the column's front.
Those ranks! To the left! Man's left! Support the flank!
Neve drew her sword, spurred her horse, and galloped forward along the line of troops. Then, through the swirling battle dust, she spotted shimmering golden suns.
I also thought that last fight was the kind of final boss, but okay. Guess we'll do a bit more.
Surround them!
Scrubbing duty again.
Oh, once an ally is destroyed, flee the battlefield. Wow.
I'm coming. New orders? No? Must be an important lesson in this. What?
A dram of glue, a bit of soldering, a rivet or two, and it's good as new.
I wonder if I can choose the promising recruits and get more of them into my deck.
As you wish, my lady.
I can.
Oh, Lady Margarita told us of this.
$101, $102, $103.
You mad? Don't shake that!
front yet again.
Mercy! Have mercy!
I forgot it was a one-round battle.
Normally disciplined, determined to an extreme, these Nilfgaardians quickly broke rank and ran.
Deserters! Leaderless cigarettes.
A scout reported.
Headed south they was, towards the frontier.
Chained prisoners now sat along the dusty road. Neve stopped in front of one. He was ragged and unshaven. Flies had taken an interest in his poorly bandaged hand. Spotting the Queen, he lowered his head and quivered with terror.
I know you take us for savages,
Began Meve, her gaze passing over several scraggy black-clads.
but fear not. We shan't flay you alive nor eat you for dinner. And when a truce is signed, you'll be sent home, where I most sincerely hope you'll stay this time.
As the Queen mounted her horse, she barely concealed a grimace. Her thighs were sore and chafed, her hands raw from the reins. But she bit her lip and rode on, for the prize was now very near.
It was in Aldersburg when it fell. Broke my heart, that did. Not complete. I'll take it back. Other kings could learn a thing or two from you, your majesty. Fight on! It was we who were to offer Lyria our aid. Things got turned right round. Other kings could learn a
Am I supposed to pick that one up? All the way around, I guess. I've got the resources to spare.
The good mothers guided you to victory. Nilfgaard angered the gods. Too much pride in them, not enough humility. The entire North owes you thanks, milady. And you, the gods, Nilfgaard.
Neve was listening to a scout's report when screams suddenly burst from the prisoner transport. In a moment, Neve bore witness to a truly macabre sight. The Nilfgaardian captives to whom she had recently been merciful lay dead, massacred in cold blood among the camp's tents.
Blast it all.
Seethed the Queen, looking at the bloodied corpses. Those responsible for the deed, peasants from the quarry at Ravencloft, Neve had welcomed into her ranks. The harm they'd endured from Nilfgaardians wielding whips. This was what had festered in their hearts and minds. The Rivians couldn't accept that their oppressors had gone unpunished. So they took matters into their own hands, in defiance of the Queen.
There's fiends, not folk,
cried the peasants, now armed and in uniform.
There was owed this, plain and simple.
It had been justice by a mob, and Meve knew it should not go unpunished. Yet at the last, ignoring her advisor's counsel, She left the former slaves' fate for their commanders to decide. For the Queen had grown weary of choosing between two evils, each one darker than the other.
All's left is to drive the Blackclads from Aldersburg, and the war's won. Our Demoven's not bad, but he don't hold a candle to me. Our Demoven's not...
Neve noticed one of her scouts, a certain Corporal Larkin, halt his mount and train his gaze on the woods.
Your Grace, I thought I heard something. Could have sworn. A whisper, maybe, but... nothing now. It's all gone quiet. I think I might have imagined it, in fact.
Imagined?
Neve placed her hand on his shoulder.
No one has sharper senses than you. If you claim to have heard something, it's worth a closer look.
Corporal Larkin saluted, then rode past the trees. Suddenly in shadow, he keenly scanned his surroundings. Something caught his attention. He dismounted, then brushed aside ferns, exposing tracks made in the mud.
Your Majesty!
He shouted, quickly turning towards the road.
Sound the alarm! It's Scout!
An arrow whisked through the air, pierced his throat, and suddenly silenced him. Then the forest came alive with cries in the Elder tongue. Elves on the attack.
I'll probably be fine, honestly.
It's a trap! 2 arms!
Got business for me?
What's he shooting for? Damage enemy by 5, reduce units by 2. Why would you not went for that one and got the splash damage? Dumbass.
As you wish, milady.
Is he going to damage his own unit and then move to my side? That won't work like that, surely. Surely not.
Oh, Lady Margarita told us of this. Let us sing the song of steel.
That's a gold unit, can't steal it. Right. Also, I've probably got enough of those ballistas now.
Doubt I'll ever pay off these school loans. As you wish, my lady.
Treaty Adepts and Reinforcements is a pretty potent combo, as it turns out. It did, yeah. They actually summoned an elf that then. Oh, that's amazing.
See who is weak.
Oh dear.
I must think of my folk.
I shall not fail!
Oh, Lady Margarita told us of this.
We ought to help one or the other. The storm is coming. Let's enjoy the weather while we still can.
Death to humans!
Everything all right?
Renner, stop! We surrender!
The Scoia'tael fighters stood no chance against Meve. When the sounds of battle finally ceased, the Queen, victorious, tossed aside her arrow-studded shield. She then ordered the commando's leader brought before her. She'd expected a ranter who would turn up his nose, spit in her face, and cry, "Death to all Dwan!" But the bloodied elf before her was no arrogant firebrand. He averted his gaze, and his lips gently trembled.
Youthful you look, elf. How many summers to you? 30? More?
27, my lady.
27. A wonderful age. A shame to die so young.
I beg you, Renner. For mercy, I ask. If not for me, then at the least for...
Mercy? You jest. You wait in ambush, come at us like bandits, and now you dare ask for mercy.
It was no ambush.
Don't play me for a fool. I know what I saw, and I'm no stranger to warcraft.
It's not you we wished to fight. Sverre.
Then who killed Corporal Larkin, Werebubs?
When we saw you on the high road, we fell back and hid in the wood. We wanted you to pass. Your scout's hearing, very keen. He heard something, then spotted our tracks. You must understand. We had no choice.
You know you might have surrendered.
Like Tristan's commander. Is that what you mean? They laid down their arms before an Edirnian general, who ordered them hanged. One and all. If we're to die, we prefer to die bows and swords in hand.
Why are you here? Were you to rescue Epdahi?
Rescue someone? No, Renner. We flee. The Nilfgaardians have realized they'll lose the war and have renounced us. Without their support, we stand no chance. Demavend has loosed his hounds. They hunt our units one by one. He's offered 50 gold pieces for the head of each Scoia'tael. It's the same in Temeria and Kedwen, if not worse. We wish to join with your Veth's unit, flee together as far as we could. It was our last hope.
Why do you tell me all this?
Because you listen still. You've not ordered me killed, so... You've clearly a heart. Eseth Aina Edu. I beg you. So few of us remain. All tired, all wounded. We pose no threat. Let us leave your realm. Let us flee.
Enough senseless killing for one day. So be it. You're free to leave.
I don't know how to thank you.
Make certain I don't ever regret this decision. 'Twould be thanks enough.
I thank you for your compassion towards me and all my folk.
Meve personally unfastened the prisoner's chains as her Lyrians looked on in silence. They did not approve, this was clear. Their displeasure was palpable.
Trophy earned, burn after reading. I guess it's for getting all the letters.
Yourself to our new view for a better future through and through.
Not bad, dude.
Foundations hoist the walls, then we'll revel in its halls. Everyone's doing their part to rebuild the homeland. First foundations.
Side, Majesty. Side by side, we'll kick those black clads across the Yoruba. Long live Eden! Long live Rivia! Long live Hyrule! Lyria! Long live Eden!
Very good. Don't we have enough catapults there, Demavend?
The Lyrian corps neared Aldersburg, and it could not have been on a more idyllic day. The sun shone, birds sang, trees rustled in a light breeze. But Meve saw it as she had at the war's start. Walls illumined by a fire's glow, the cries of fleeing civilians, the stench of burning flesh. As on that day, Aldersburg was under siege. Yet this time, Eden's flags fluttered in the field, while Nilfgaard's tattered sons crowned the fort's towers. The Queen found Demavend's tent without difficulty. Made of sheets of silk edged with silver thread, it positively shone.
Seems the realm's restored to a virtuous path,
muttered Meve.
Ah! There she is! Queen Meve, savior of the North. The Sun Slayer.
Mockery I don't appreciate.
I wouldn't dare. Not my words, those. You've been painted thus in song. Master Dandelion himself wrote a ballad. The Battle for the Bridge. If you take the bard at his word, you're as fierce with a blade as any witcher.
Is that jealousy I hear?
Perfectly honest, Meve. It is. For I hadn't the pluck, nor resolve. And when all the North tuck-tail went to shite, you alone stepped up and bared your fangs. Let it be a lesson for the future to us all.
You called out the future. Tell me, how's your son?
Baldwin. Oh, growing like a weed he is. And the spitting image of his old man.
Good news all, especially given the mother's profession.
She's now Countess Demeretta of Gullet, Lady of the Court.
Oh, your lawful wife must be thrilled.
Hard to say in truth. I've not seen her in some time. Duty keeps me away, you understand.
You work hard, I'm certain. Many a night, too.
You might say so indeed. But enough about me. As we're chirping away like two gossips in the field, do tell me, what of Willem?
He's here with me.
Ah. In chains, perhaps?
No. In coronet and robes. We came to an understanding. What's past is past. A lesson for the future? What do you mean?
My dear, this war won't change a bloody thing, you know. Nilfgaard will be Nilfgaard, the North, the North. We'll sign a truce, the Blackclads will turn tail towards home. But the old borders don't satisfy us soul.
I'm perfectly satisfied with them, thank you. And I just wish other folk would respect them too.
You're one hell of a warrior, but you're no strategist at all. Your perspective, you've got to broaden it. Nilfgaard, we cannot allow it to regain strength and spirit, else we'll face another invasion within a decade or two. Measures are required. Preventive, preemptive, whatever the learned call it. Build an army, a vast one, wait in ambush, and when they least expect it, break their bloody spine. Just think, if we were to join forces...
Enough. I don't wish to hear it. Won't even entertain the thought. I'll help you take Aldersburg, but then I'll go home, where, God's willing, I'll live to a ripe old age.
As you wish. We can mount the assault at any time, but...
But?
My scouts report a small Nilfgaardian force approaching from the south. They've stayed off the roads, moved only under the cover of night, escorting someone.
Who?
I've no notion. Could be a mage. Devilishly unpredictable, that lot. Wreak havoc in our ranks. Either way, before we rush at the walls, we must make certain they don't reach Aldersburg at all.
I shall see to it.
Are you sure? You've just arrived. Must be weary after the long journey.
An understatement if I ever heard one. But I wish all this to be over, quickly.
Eve set out after the Nilfgaardians immediately, a cavalry escort in tow. Her unmatched scouts, who had led the army through the mountains of Mahakam and Angren swamps, quickly found the enemy's trail.
This way, Your Grace. It's not far now.
That very same day, Meave's force caught up to the mysterious black-clad unit. Lyrian riders surrounded the foe, forcing the Nilfgaardians to halt. All fell so quiet, the creaking of taut Lyrian bowstrings could be discerned.
The common tongue. Which of you knows it?
I do, Your Majesty.
You also know who you deal with, I see. What is your name?
Kaldvin, Your Majesty.
At last. A Nilfgaardian name I can pronounce. So, Kaldwin. It seems this war will reach its end in 2 days' time at the most. 'Twould be silly to die today, wouldn't you agree?
It would, milady.
Precisely. I've spilled enough blood. I've lost the appetite for more. So, provided you don't give me a good reason to kill you, you'll walk away with your lives. Now tell me. You carry something for General Ebdahi. What is it?
A letter.
Urgent to the point of insanity, it must be. Who wrote it? The dear Madam Ebdahi?
No, Your Majesty. The Emperor.
My. A letter from Emir himself. You must be an important person. A noble, or... Yet your uniform is simple, with no discernible distinctions. Who are you truly, Kaldwin? A spy?
A simple messenger, Your Majesty.
Don't lie. I know messengers, how they travel. Alone, armorless, atop a swift steed. You're escorted by cavalry of the heavy sort.
For I often carry orders the recipients don't wish to perform, thus the escort.
Give me the letter.
I've sworn to deliver it to General Ebdahi, or to die in the quest to do so.
Oh, very well. My translator shall read this letter, then return it to you. You shall break no vow, and who knows? You might even survive.
And if I refuse?
Guess.
So be it. I accept your offer.
Meave's translator cracked the seal and read. And as he read, his eyes grew wide as saucers. Then he whispered in the Queen's ear.
Truly. And you're certain you're not mistaken?
Tell him to surrender.
The wonders of this world. Kaldwin, Consider this your lucky day. I allow you to complete your mission with one proviso.
And that is?
That when you hand him the letter, you will give the General my regards.
As Caldwin and escort set off towards Aldersburg, the Lyrian soldiers looked at their queen with disbelief. To leave a Nilfgaardian to fulfill a secretive task. Neve failed to stifle a rather mean laugh. They'll understand tomorrow, she thought. General Epdahi had prefaced Lyria's and Rivia's invasion with a series of arrogant demands. The Nilfgaardian had been impudent, as he had felt sure he'd achieve a quick and decisive victory. Yet several months on, he too received an ultimatum. One signed by Emperor Emir var Emreis himself. The missive was concise and left no room for interpretation. With General Epdahi dead, the Nilfgaardian army descended into chaos. The kings of the north, united, took advantage and struck at the foe. Their victory was complete. The Nordling forces cheered their commanders and monarchs, but for none so vehemently as the one queen among them. Many dream of achieving the impossible. Neve had done it. Through wit, determination, and boldness, she had thwarted the Nilfgaardian invasion. The queen would rule for many more years. Stern, yet ever just.
Ah! So a lass saved the North from the Blackclads?
That is one way to put it.
Well, I'll be damned. And a chap. She find herself out in the end?
Leave it be. Bloke's been spinning the tale all night. Story's done. Time we got some shut-eye.
Yes. Particularly as we've yet a long road before us.
3 jackdaws, eh?
Phew. Throat must be parched as old leather after all that. Except, I'm itching to know what happened to the lot of them. Reynard, Gascon.
Well, Gascon died, you dumbass.
Very well. Whom shall we start with? Willem? He worked hard to regain his mother's trust and respect. Took on many daring missions, regardless of the risks. The lad whom Nilfgaard had wielded as a tool now sowed terror along its borders, and appeared a successor most worthy of Neve. Gascon was buried with honors of the most refined yet mournful sort. His peer lords themselves bore the casket. Soldiers in parade dress beat the funeral drums, and a new stone figure appeared beside the Brossard family vault, the very pointer from their crest, a ducal crown upon its head. Though Nilfgaard owed its defeat chiefly to Neve, in the Empire her name was uttered with utmost respect. Returning soldiers spoke in awed tones of her courage and generosity, referring to her as Gvedin, the tenacious one. With the advent of peace, tensions waned. Lyria's and Rivia's disparate races seemed to live harmoniously, side by side. The Queen pressed for new laws aimed at curbing oppression. They were a step towards more enlightened rule, yet sadly were habitually broken. And Neve? As I said, she ruled with an iron hand, not fist. Reynard ever at her side, tempering, supportive. No longer a general and trusted advisor, he had to the Queen become something more. Much, much more. And now, if you'd allow me...
Course. Leave him be, lads. Let him get some rest. Till the time comes for the next tale.
Return of the Queen. That was really good. Really, really enjoyable. Apart from getting annoyed at the last battle, because the last battle was so goddamn done. Oh dear. Right, I'm gonna let the credits roll for a moment. Go put some sausage rolls on. Can't say I recognise any of those names. No Maeves, no? I didn't think the credits would just loop. See, the golden chest thing is annoying because I did find off what you. I can just go back to any of the areas. Neat. Well, that's Thronebreaker. Thanks for watching.